I'd to say we're now joined by the founder of Gender GP, Dr. Helen Webberley, live in the studio. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
My pleasure.
Always grateful for that. I wanted to talk to you. You've been quite busy on social media. You've responded to a few of the posts that I've made on issues related to trans issues, and in particular, we had the publication of a draft bill last week by the Equalities Minister Olivia Bailey about a draft bill to ban conversion therapy, not just gay conversion but also trans conversion therapy. And basically it could mean, many are warning, the campaign is warning, that parents, teachers, therapists, doctors could risk up to 5 years behind bars if they try to talk children out of irreversible trans treatments, including puberty blockers. And I want to talk to you because you run a business selling puberty blockers to children.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to react to this discussion with this horrendous individual, this woman who calls herself a doctor, but she has been struck off. She can no longer practice. She runs a business which enables children to get access to puberty blockers. She runs the business here in the US. I don't know for the life of me why this woman is not banned from entering the country, much less starting a business that targets children and encourages mutilation and chemical castration. This woman needs to be banned from the US, but of course in these woke states, she's allowed to operate this business. She can't do it in the UK, thankfully, but she's over here in the US doing this business. And one thing I want to point out from this debate, or whatever you want to call it, because throughout the whole discussion, this woman is not honest once. Well, there maybe is one point where she's slightly honest, and at this point of the discussion, at the beginning, she refuses to acknowledge that her clientele are children. She refuses to acknowledge that we're talking about children, and she uses the terminology young people.
You run a business selling puberty blockers to children.
Well, I don't run a business selling puberty blockers to children, so I think we just need to clear that up.
What do you do then?
Children don't need puberty blockers. Adolescents have puberty blockers once they've started puberty. So if we just clear that language up, because that's
adolescents are...
It is deliberate. Make no mistakes about it. She does not want to acknowledge that we are talking about children. These people don't even believe that children, have that innocence about them, where they are naive, where they are impressionable, where they need to be protected so they're not led astray. They don't believe that. They believe children should just have all autonomy when it comes to medical decisions, when it comes to what drugs they take. Apparently, they assume that children automatically have informed consent. They just know. They know these things, when we know that that is not the case. And I just find it astonishing that she denies that who we're dealing with here are children, because we're talking about puberty blockers. And puberty can start from as young as 8 years old. But yet, they're young people. And who else likes to deny who children are? Who else likes to completely dismiss the fact that children cannot consent? Predators of various kinds, if you know what I mean. It's all from the same playbook. These people are predators.
Adolescents are young people who have started puberty.
Adolescents,
so
under 18?
Teenagers.
Under 18, so children.
Yeah.
Well, it's a technical term, children.
For the medical term, children is a very emotive term, so children don't need puberty blockers. And let me just be clear, I don't sell puberty blockers to children. They're given for free? Because actually young people in this country can't access puberty blockers. So just to clear that up, I don't sell puberty blockers to children. But
the puberty blockers that were supplied by your company, Gender GP, are given out for free. It's a lovely, warm, cuddly, fuzzy charity. Is that the case?
So Julia has got this woman's number. She knows what this woman is all about, that this woman is sick. She refuses to acknowledge that we're talking about children. She knows she's banned from doing this in the UK. So she's trying to be pedantic and say, well, I can't do that here. But yeah, you do it in the US, don't you? In California and these ridiculous woke states where they do not protect children, where they do not protect girls. That's exactly what she is doing. She's not giving it away for free. This isn't a charity. She's making money off of the backs of confused children. Yes, confused. She's making money off of the backs of children who have been groomed, children who are dealing with different mental illnesses who need support. She's profiting off of that.
That's what I call under 18s children.
Okay, well, listen, you've laid it out that I am the supplier and seller of puberty blockers to children.
Would you give them for free or not? Do you not give them to under 18s, or do you give them for free? Those are two simple questions.
She makes money off of that. And that's why I'm going to show you another example of how this woman refuses to acknowledge the very existence of biology. It doesn't matter whether one has a penis, whether one has a vagina. You can ignore that. And you decide, the young person decides whether they are male or female, whether they're a woman or a man. You're not even allowed to acknowledge that men have penises, women have vaginas. You're not even allowed to say that. That's offensive. Throughout this discussion, she's trying to trap Julia and paint Julia out to be some sort of bigot because she can acknowledge the differences between men and women. She can acknowledge that she is a woman who has had children, who was born with the anatomy of a woman. Apparently, acknowledging that, the mere acknowledgement of that is bigotry. Oh, you better not say that. She doesn't even want other people to hear, the people who she's targeting to hear in case they get some knowledge. So she tries to shut down what Julia is saying.
You don't think that the Equality Act...
let me ask a question.
No, because I can't just let you say, I don't believe that,
I can say yes.
Yeah, but I can interrupt.
Okay, yes.
Excuse me, it's classified. No, I'm not letting you get away with that because...
You can, at the end, let me quote...
There will be transgender people listening to this.
Yeah, and they can listen to it.
And listen to you saying that they have a mental illness.
Cass review was carried out...
And then this point here is where she tries to move the goalpost. And this is typical of these activists. They love moving the goalpost. Apparently, it's not a thing for a child to think they're born in the wrong body. That's not a thing anymore. And how dare you even suggest that?
Queerness, trans, these are very different things. So I want to clarify. Do you believe that there are... Because I don't believe there's any such thing as a trans kid, right? So do you believe that there are children...
So you don't think that the Equality Act...
let me ask a question.
No, because I can't just let you say, I don't believe that,
I can say yes.
Yeah, but I can interrupt.
OK, yes.
So you don't believe there's anything such thing as a trans child. So the Equality...
I know there isn't.
OK, you know there isn't.
Yeah.
But the Equality Act actually has a protected characteristic, which is somebody who undergoes gender reassignment.
That doesn't mean they are trans, no.
It doesn't mean... So you're basically saying...
There is a protected characteristic. It doesn't mean that they actually are... trans. That's what I want to ask you specifically. Do you believe that there are children who are born in the wrong body?
Born in the wrong body? Again, it's just... Julia, you need to really watch your language. This is
don't tell me what language to use. That's not going to go down well for you, Helen.
I just did. I just did. Transgender children exist. There are
children who believe that they're born in the wrong body exist.
I didn't say they're born in the wrong body because it's such an offensive thing to say.
What's the motive?
We were talking about the Equality Act.
That's what a lot of children say, that they're born in the wrong body.
No, they don't. People like you label us.
No, that's what trans activists constantly say. People feel they're born in the wrong body.
Well, then you need to watch me a little bit more on social media.
I'm good. I won't need to do that. OK, so you don't think that phrase is... You don't think that is meaningful?
Nobody's born in the wrong body. What an offensive thing to say.
You accept that. OK, so no, I was going to say, you're a doctor by training.
So then she goes on to say that the people who are harming children, the people who are doing a lot of damage to children, to their mental health, to their safety, their well-being, are those who acknowledge biology, are those who could see when a baby is born with a penis that baby's a boy, and when a baby is born with a vagina, that baby's a girl. Apparently, those who believe what their eyes are showing them are the ones doing the harm. It's not the people putting kids on medications that permanently alter their bodies, that stop them from going through puberty, drugs that can stunt the development of their brains and their intellect, and a bunch of other long-term consequences that are still even unknown. That's not what's harmful, no. It's the people who acknowledge biology who are harmful.
So that's basic biology. So what is it that a trans child believes or is, in your view, that is different from any other child? If you've got a little boy or a little girl who says, I believe I'm trans, I believe that I am a girl or a boy, the opposite from what they have been, I don't believe in assigned at birth, for what they are, what is it that's different about them?
Well, the belief is not their belief. Their understanding is of who they are. It's your belief. You believe by looking down there that that is a little boy, and what you're doing...
I believe that someone with a penis is a boy,
yeah,
and I'm mistaken in that.
Would you like me to finish or not?
Just clarify.
Okay, so you believe by looking at a penis that that child is a boy.
Yes, I do.
But that child may well be saying to you, you've got it wrong, your belief is wrong. Actually, inside my soul, inside my heart, inside my brain, I'm a girl. And people like you who deny that do an awful lot of harm. And people like you who put that out there on big social media channels do ever such a lot of harm to those people who are transgender. And that's difficult.
Right.
And what she is suggesting, what this monster is suggesting, is that we replace biology and scientific fact with belief. And the person who leads the way when it comes to that belief is the child. What could possibly go wrong?
My child said to me, I'm Spider-Man. Should I affirm that as well?
Do you not think I've not been asked that before?
Well, exactly.
Spider-Man is not an identity.
Spider-Man's not a thing.
Spider-Man is a fictional character from the television of a bloke who climbs up walls.
But a child could honestly believe that they are Spider-Man.
It's not a belief. Remember we explained that a minute ago. It's your belief that
they are talking factually, and the rest of the world and the whole of history. We've all been wrong about biological sex. And it's not really a thing. It's entirely something that you know in your own heart. Is that what you're saying?
Well, how do you know what you are?
So a child believing that they are Spider-Man is not a real identity. But a boy believing he's a girl is an identity. A girl believing she's a boy is an identity. When the fact is, a boy believing he is a girl is as much of his imagination as him believing he is Spider-Man. And as parents, we don't lie to our kids and say, yes, you are Spider-Man, but you are not Spider-Man. You cannot climb up walls. If you jump out the window, it's not going to end well. You cannot release your web and, be perfectly safe like Spider-Man is in the movies. We don't lie to kids because we don't want them to go down a path that will endanger them. So if you're telling a child that, although he's a boy, he can be a girl, and that there's these magical drugs that are going to turn them into a girl, you are lying to children. That is not love, that is not compassion. And that is what is dangerous. And even more dangerous when people are allowed to profit off of this, which is exactly what Helen is doing. So what I love is how Julia just breaks down the fact that she is a woman. She does not engage in this fantasy world that Helen is trying to create here. She states facts as to why she knows she's a woman. It's not a belief, it's just a fact. And it's not really worth getting into with these people because they're very disingenuous and they are trying to run people around in circles.
Well, how do you know what you are? Do you look in the mirror? Or is it that you just
I've known all my life. I was given female on my birth certificate because I haven't got a penis, I've got a vagina. I've got pregnant and given birth to a baby. I think the evidence is very, very, very clear that I'm a woman. I've never questioned that. The vast majority of people don't question it. And until very recently, before this started being pushed as a political agenda, very few children question it. Now, here's the thing.
Yes, they did, if I may. And actually, we understand it so well that it isn't in our UK law. And do you think that your womanhood is dictated because somebody else put female on and because somebody else got you pregnant, and then that makes you a woman? I don't think
because I am female. Because I am female.
Yes, and that's
because I actually am.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, I was mistaken. It's the people who acknowledge biology who have the belief. And everyone else, those who think that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man, they're just stating fact. It's those who acknowledge biology who are labeling children what they believe children to be rather than what they know children to be based on biology. Are you following? Yeah, I'm lost on this as well because this is pure and utter foolishness. But she knows who is male, who is female. She knows. But she's trying to convince everybody to bow to an ideology that she succumbed to a long time ago, and her husband as well, and they can no longer practice. But hey, she's still allowed to make money from pushing puberty blockers onto children. She's still allowed to make money from doing that, though. And that is the greatest travesty of all. And what I find very rich coming from her is when Julia says that, I could think I'm a German Shepherd, for all we know. I could think that if I decided to, but I'm not. This woman has the nerve to imply that she's talking about human beings, yet failing to see that she is dehumanizing children when she says that our biological sex is insignificant to who we are. She is the one refusing to acknowledge the very makeup of human beings. No, if you are male, you cannot become female. If you are female, you cannot become male. You would think a doctor would know that. But yet she wants to claim that she is the one who is acknowledging human biology, acknowledging who human beings are, that we can't be Spider-Man. Spider-Man's fictional. A dog is a dog. But apparently human beings can change sex.
Yes, and that's
because I actually am.
Exactly.
And I can think.
Exactly.
I can think that I'm
You've got it. You've got it.
I can think that I'm a German Shepherd dog if I want, but it doesn't mean that I am.
German Shepherd is a dog. We're talking about human identities here. Spider-Man climbs up buildings. Dogs are a different species.
So they talk about the Cass review. She has a problem with her saying that gender dysphoria is a mental condition, mental illness, and she won't even let her say it because she doesn't want trans people to hear this. These are the sort of people who are all for censorship, who won't even let you speak, who do not want you to speak. They're perfectly happy for you to speak if they can manipulate you and run you around in circles and pretend that they're winning the debate. But when you start speaking facts that are irrefutable, they want to silence you.
It's gender dysphoria. It's a mental health issue. We know from the Cass review.
Are you a mental health specialist? Is that your excuse me, it's classified. No, I'm not letting you get away with that because
you can at the end.
No,
let me quote.
There will be transgender people listening
to
this,
and they can listen to it.
And listen to you saying that they have a mental illness.
Cass review was carried out.
So I will say this is the most disturbing part of the debate. She tries to get a gotcha on Julia. I think she wanted Julia to assume that she gave children puberty blockers at age 4 when she was actually talking about the original purpose of puberty blockers was to address precocious early puberty. So she was trying to get a gotcha. And then she does go on to admit the earliest age that her clinic has given children puberty blockers. And she says age 7, to the point where Julia thinks she's still talking about precocious puberty. And this is who this woman refuses to admit and acknowledge are children, 7-year-olds.
And but the majority are and one of the things that was listed was victims of sexual abuse.
And the only one you don't list is true transgender children.
What does true transgender children mean?
It means that somebody else put female on their birth certificate.
And they're not.
And they're not. Exactly.
What's the youngest age that your business that you founded, along with your husband, who I believe has been struck off as a GP, you're no longer registered, but you are, you're a doctor. You no longer have a license to practice. That was your choice in this country. What's the youngest age at which puberty blockers have been given to an under 18 child, as I'm going to use that word, by your company, Gender GP?
The appropriate time to give puberty blockers is when puberty starts.
So what's the youngest age?
The youngest age for puberty blockers, I mean, some children at the age of 3 or 4 can start puberty, and we give them puberty blockers.
That's different. That's a medical treatment.
Oh, that's a medical treatment.
That's a medical treatment for precocious puberty.
Comes back in again with now a medical treatment.
That is literally what that is for.
You need to be really careful of your advice.
That's not for a trans child.
Oh, I see. That's for proper
Are you under the illusion that people who don't have a medical degree are incapable of reading what medical experts say?
Well, interpreting.
You think I've wrongly interpreted? So when children are given puberty blockers for precocious puberty at an inappropriate time to slow their body down, to enable them to develop naturally, that is a medical treatment as opposed to a preferential treatment from a child who believes that they are trans. You understand the difference?
You're so cruel.
She knows that what she's doing is wrong. I have no doubt about that. Whether it's deep inside or in her face, she knows that what she's doing is wrong. Because she is ashamed to even say that her company is willing to prescribe these drugs, these puberty blockers, as early as 7. She can't even get it out because she's ashamed to say it. Well, I don't know if she actually has any shame, but she clearly is uncomfortable saying it, admitting it, She's uncomfortable admitting it. And she called Julia cruel for not falling for her gotcha and challenging her to clarify. She called her cruel. You see?
I'm cruel now. Helen, I just asked you before we went to break, I want to ask you, what is the youngest age that you have given, your company, Gender GP, has given, sold, I mean, I don't think you give them away for free, puberty blockers. You said youngest could be age 3. What is the youngest age, as far as you're aware, from the company you founded?
Well, we've been struggling with the terminology. The terminology is that doctors prescribe puberty blockers for young people who need them. So
I'm asking your company.
Yes, and the doctors will prescribe puberty blockers for children who've gone into puberty, whether that's precocious puberty or whether that's for transgender children.
What's the youngest age a child that hasn't gone into precocious puberty?
When puberty starts, so puberty starts in people for trans reasons. Oof.
No, I'm just saying, the reason they
for
want them.
transgender young people entering puberty.
What age?
So people with ovaries can enter puberty as early as 7.
Why can't you just answer the question? What age?
We didn't say 7 then?
No, but you're talking about precocious puberty.
No, I'm not.
Then. So you're saying
puberty can start as young as 7, 8, 9.
Yes.
Okay?
So you're saying that your company has given puberty blockers to children as young as...
prescribe.
I didn't ask about doctors. I asked about your company.
But a company can't sell or give.
The people working for the company that you're the founder of.
The doctors.
The doctors, yeah.
Working with
What's the youngest age they've given them to?
I just told you, 7
years
8,
old.
9, 10, whenever puberty starts.
Okay, and is that for because the children,
transgender people?
That's for 7 years old.
At what age is your clinic or, the doctors who work for you willing to prescribe puberty blockers? And she finally had to admit it's the age of 7, as early as 7. Is that not a child? She slipped up and called them children there.
And the doctors will prescribe puberty blockers for children who've gone into puberty, whether that's precocious puberty or whether that's for transgender
What's the youngest
children.
age?
But predominantly she's referring to 7-year-olds, kids as young as 7, as young people. So Julia ends the discussion saying what we all think. First of all, she calls her out for that disgusting T-shirt she's wearing that glorifies child mutilation.
Your company has been criticised by a senior judge, it wasn't a party to this particular court case, for not informing young patients about the risks of things like the train they're getting onto the train tracks. Sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be, quoting some of the risks there are: infertility, sexual dysfunction, bone density damage, brain developmental risk. Now, a lot of that comes from further down the line, but we know the evidence is clear. Don't have a medical degree, but the evidence is clear. Read the reports, see what the medical experts who do know say, that actually the vast majority of youngsters who start on these puberty blockers move on to cross-sex hormones, and that's what the reaction is. How can a young child, how can anyone under the age of 18, how can they make a decision about their future like that?
I think we have to give young people credit for understanding a lot of things in healthcare. So whether it's going in for a broken arm, whether it's going in for your adenoids, whether it's going in for grommets, whether it's going for puberty blockers, whether it's going for open heart surgery, you have to understand that parents and children make decisions.
But a
for
lot of that
care.
is medical treatment for a problem.
And the problem is gender incongruence, gender dysphoria, the pubertal development.
Okay.
And the reason that we got into this discussion here today was because of this campaign.
You're wearing a T-shirt. Oh gosh, yes, proud of my stripes.
Yeah.
This is a lush campaign, and it's got a tiger apparently celebrating having mastectomy scars, cutting off perfectly healthy breasts.
Proud of my scars, yeah. And actually, do you know
repulsive.
What? Yeah, but puberty
I hadn't registered that was what you were wearing. It literally makes me want to vomit.
Or would you like to... Can we have a bucket in here, please? But puberty blockers prevent this. So on the one hand, you're saying puberty blockers, you could give them to anybody else, but not for trans things, as you say.
Well, for non-medical reasons.
And yet, actually, that puberty blockers prevent breast development in transgender boys.
So chemical castration is perfectly fine. And we don't have to do it, physically. We can just do it chemically. Absolutely disgusting.
A perfectly healthy breast on a girl who needs her...
Well, you're again misgendering every single transgender boy out there.
I am so frustrated it's 12:59 because I just wanted to ask you whether if a troubled child came to you as a doctor with anorexia, believing she was too fat, would you affirm that and help her lose more weight?
Are you really asking that?
Yeah, it's the same thing. A child that thinks they're the wrong sex, or a child that thinks they're overweight.
You shouldn't get too involved in medicine because of the harm you cause to people who listen.
I think, and I mean this very respectfully, I think people like you should be in prison.
And I think anybody with any sense of any integrity whatsoever actually cares about children would agree with that. This woman should be in prison. She should not be allowed to practice this business here in the US. She shouldn't even be allowed in the US. And she should be locked up, quite frankly. So on that note, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video. And a huge thanks to all of those who have hyped my videos. It is greatly appreciated.